Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching a clip from the Sideline podcast. If you're interested in watching the full show, head over to Spotify and whilst you're there, leave a 5-star review. It would be very much appreciated. But for now, enjoy this little segment. But first of all, we'll speak about the top end of the Premier League. Arsenal. Now, it has to be said, it is a debatable topic, and I think Arsenal fans get very touchy when you mention this. Did Arsenal actually bottle the Premier League?
It's so hard to... My gut instinct is no. Okay. And the reason why, there's two main reasons. So the first one is we're a very young squad, and we're not used to being there, so it would be difficult to say, we bottled it. But my main reason is, even when Arsenal were like 5-6 points ahead, I think it might have been 8 points ahead at one point, everybody on radio, on Sky Sports News, fan forums were talking about City winning it still. And people were still talking about City catching them. And people were saying the last team you want chasing you in Arsenal's position is this City team, where they've been one of the best English teams ever. We're in for a treble this year. Obviously, that could still happen.
Yep.
So I personally don't think we did bottle it. I think it's easy to just turn around and say, oh, well, they were 8 points clear. But of course, we should have won it. But, I mean, it's the team who's chasing you. If that was any other team than Man City of the last... Take Man City out of the last 4 years. Any team of the last 4 years who finished second or first, obviously including Liverpool, I don't think they would have caught Arsenal. So it's hard to say we bottled it. We had some bad luck as well. I know Saliba got an injury which affected them big time. Jesus was injured. I know it didn't affect him, or it didn't seem like it affected him as much, but I bet you it did in terms of mentality. Jesus has won Premier Leagues before. He would have been vital to have around the place, and I'm sure he was still around, but not having him on the pitch would have been a big loss as well. And I feel like, as well, Arsenal, if you offered them second at the start of this season, they would have bit your hand off, or they would have said you were lying.
100%, yeah.
So it's still been a great season for Arsenal. It fell off at the end. It was incredibly difficult. Even the best players like Saka and players like that are still very, very young. So I don't think we bottled it. Mainly because it was Man City who was behind them, and everybody was talking about the last team you want behind you is Man City, or this Man City team. So I don't think they bottled it. I think they've put themselves in a position we can be really proud of, but I feel like looking back, if you were a player for Arsenal now, there would be a bit in your head thinking, this is the year we should have won it, we wouldn't have had a better chance, but I feel like they'd be harsh on themselves, because to say you're not going to have a better chance is just silly, really, because like everybody's talking about this Man City team potentially being better than the Man United treble winning team, the Arsenal invincible team, the Chelsea 04-05 team. I don't know if they are, but yeah, I don't think we bottled it. But I don't know if that's because I quite like Arsenal. I don't know.
No, I can understand what you're saying. Obviously, for any team, if you are challenging a team like Man City, who in my opinion are the best team in the world right now, besides Everton, then obviously you should be proud of what you're doing. Like you said, it's a young squad. They've got some incredible talent in there still. Mikel Arteta's still learning. It's going to be a learning curve. I know it's a hard one to take because of how close you come, but like you've got time to improve. You've got time to bring in new players. You've experienced from this. You'll learn from this. But having going off that, I do believe they did bottle it, and it's not. Like I said, I'm not laughing at them, because still finishing second and getting this close to actually winning it is very impressive. But dropping points to, I mean, more in particular Southampton, the drop points against Bournemouth, Liverpool being 2-0 up and then bottling that. Like,
do you feel like we played them at the wrong time, though? Like, we played Southampton and Bournemouth when we still were fighting relegation and we had a chance. I know, I mean, to be fair, you probably are right in what you're saying, but I don't know. I feel like a league season, you do need a bit of luck.
Yeah.
And playing teams like that at that stage of a season is really, really difficult.
Yeah, I get that, but it's just there should be games that they should have been winning, especially. But at the same time, to go on the back of that, they've done well to get points up in games that they shouldn't have got points on, if you get what I mean. So that it is swings and roundabouts with them, but I just think with the points that they should have picked up, they would have won the league.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you think of, it was like 4 games in a row, wasn't there? They were 2-0 up against West Ham and we drew 2-2. They were 2-0 up against Liverpool, we drew 2-2. We drew 3-3 with Southampton in that same period. And I think there was another draw as well. And you looked at that and you just thought, oh, God, what have you done? And then they had Man City to play, which wouldn't have helped because City as chasers or leaders are just relentless. They're just all over you. It's impossible to
Did you watch that
compete.
game, by the way?
The City Arsenal game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arsenal didn't look like a team that were challenging for Premier League.
The experience showed, I think, like you could tell City's players had been there before in terms of top end of the Premier League playing these big matches, and
Yeah.
for the first time, Arsenal looked a little bit like kids. We were a little bit like, oh god, we haven't got we got bullied to an extent where City just dominated from start to finish, and Arsenal struggled to get in. And there was small periods where Arsenal looked better.
Yeah.
And it was actually funny. That was the game. I know we did our team of the season, and I put Jesus in over Saka.
Mm-hmm.
But that was part of a reason why I didn't put Saka in, because I saw him do it in a couple of previous games. But that Man City game, he was getting on the ball and just going backwards and sideways, and I was like,
agree on
come
that.
on, like get on the ball, and you're the guy. You and Odegaard was doing it at times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the games which kind of made me take him out of my team of the season. But again, it's nothing against Saka, because I'm a big fan of him. I think he's incredible. Everything we spoke about him previously, coming back from all the abuse he got and stuff for England, which was completely uncalled for. But I feel like, I hope Arsenal will be back, but I feel like Arteta might have set himself up to fail next season. I don't think we will be challenging next season for the title.
I can agree.
But we shouldn't have been challenging this season, but because of that, Arsenal fans or the pundits or the media might get on Arteta's back and be like, well, he's not progressing. Well, yeah, he's not going to progress because you've overachieved this season. A little bit like Newcastle, I feel like I think it's a bit different because, again, Newcastle have had nowhere near the success Arsenal have had over the last 20 years, but there will be Newcastle fans and there will be pundits when Newcastle's sitting 7th and they've got a Champions League game midweek and then a cup game after that and then a Premier League game, and there'll be people calling for Eddie Howe to get sacked, which is crazy to think about, and I hope it doesn't happen. But I feel like Arsenal's in a similar position. They've had such a good season that they're going to struggle to follow that up. And they're going to be dealing with Champions League football again for the first time since when? 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
Wenger. Yeah. So again, it's going to be a new learning curve for them players because all them players are new. I don't think there's any player there who was around when Wenger was there. So it's going to be huge next season, and it's weird talking about next season already because this one's just finished. But it's been incredible for Arsenal. I'm so happy they did well. Again, I hope Arteta's there next season, but I've got a feeling he might get sacked.
That is a problem. We're doing incredibly well. You
just don't get time.
Yeah, you are expected to stay at that consistency, and
it's Eddie Howe's they're the same like Newcastle, amazing season, top 4. Who would have thought that? Bearing in mind 18 months ago, everybody was saying we were relegated. He's now going to have to somehow balance League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League. We're going to be playing twice a week pretty much the whole season.
Yeah.
If we stay in cups long enough. Even if we finish 3rd in the Champions League group, we'll be in the Europa League knockout, so we then just go to Thursdays, one day back. We haven't got a big squad as it is. That was shown against Chelsea. Lewis Miley came off the bench, 17 years old, our youngest ever Premier League player, even though he did it to crossbar. Elliot Anderson's like 20 years old. He's getting loads of appearances because of injuries. So I feel like, again, like we've had an amazing season, but I'm definitely going to try and ground myself next season in terms of my expectations, just because I never want to turn on Eddie Howe. I feel like no Newcastle fan should ever turn on Eddie Howe after what he's done. But
Spawn.
Sean Dyche, similar. He's took Everton to Premier League survival.
Do you want to know what? I'll get further in it as we get further into the episode, but I've been on his back. I've been against keeping him on, but watching how he plays and how he's dealt, especially the Bournemouth game, how we came together as a group, we didn't have our strongest 11, and there were high expectations in the game, and he just managed it so calmly, and we did incredibly well. So, for that reason alone, we've got to give him a chance next season.